Almost 70% of drivers have no idea that these everyday habits are quietly destroying their automatic car. But here's the twist. Just one of these mistakes could be the reason you're facing a repair bill worth thousands of dollars. Here's 15 things you should never do in an automatic car. Don't skip. This could save your life when driving. Let's dive in with number 15. Don't run your tank on low. Your fuel gauge is hovering near empty, and you keep telling yourself you'll fill up later. It seems harmless. But here's what's actually happening under the hood. Your car's electric fuel pump sits inside the gas tank and uses the surrounding fuel to stay cool and lubricated. The moment your level drops below that quarter tank mark, the pump is no longer fully submerged and starts running hot. That overheating wears the pump out far ahead of schedule, and replacement bills can easily reach several $100s. Most drivers only find out about this damage when the car refuses to start or loses power without warning. Running low isn't just risky for your schedule, it's a slow death sentence for one of your car's most critical components. What they don't tell you is that the very bottom of your tank is where years of sediment and debris collect. Running low forces the pump to draw from exactly that spot, pulling contaminants straight into your fuel filter, your injectors, and your engine. The damage compounds quietly with every low fuel mile you drive. And here's the kicker. If you run it completely dry, air enters the fuel lines and creates pressure imbalances that can cause misfires and lasting fuel system damage even after you've refilled. Mechanics count on you never connecting those symptoms to that habit. A clogged injector or a failed fuel filter is not a cheap fix, and it all traces back to a habit you could have broken for free. Keep it above a quarter tank, every single time. Number 14, don't coast in neutral. You're rolling downhill and you drop into neutral to save some fuel. Sounds smart. It is actually one of the worst things you can do to your automatic transmission. Modern automatics are engineered to stay in gear even while decelerating. Shifting to neutral while the car is rolling cuts off the lubrication and hydraulic pressure the transmission depends on to protect its internal components. Without that protection, parts wear out much faster than they should. That wear accumulates invisibly until the transmission starts slipping or failing under normal driving conditions. You're essentially running a precision system dry while convincing yourself you're doing it a favor. What they don't tell you is that the fuel-saving benefit is completely made up. Modern fuel-injected engines automatically cut fuel delivery when you lift off the gas in gear. In neutral, the engine still burns fuel just to idle, so you're not saving anything. You might actually be using more. And here's the kicker. You also lose engine braking, which means your actual brake pads take on all that extra load going downhill. More wear, more heat, more money. The transmission and the brakes both pay the price for a habit that gives you nothing in return. It costs you more in every direction simultaneously. Number 13, never do hard launches. Flooring the gas pedal from a dead stop feels exciting. Your automatic transmission absolutely hates it. Unlike a manual where the driver controls power delivery through the clutch, an automatic is built for smooth, progressive transitions, not violent bursts of force from a standstill. Every hard launch sends a massive shock through the torque converter, the transmission gears, and the entire drivetrain simultaneously. The components that take that hit were simply not engineered to handle it repeatedly. One launch won't destroy it, but 1,000 of them absolutely will. What they don't tell you is that the torque converter has to absorb a sudden spike of energy it was never designed to handle at that intensity. That repeated stress causes overheating, accelerated wear, and eventual efficiency loss that you'll feel every time the car shifts. And here's the kicker. Your drivetrain suffers too. The driveshaft, axles, and differential aren't built to take that kind of jolt repeatedly. A broken axle or a damaged differential is a repair that can run into the thousands. Add in the tires wearing unevenly from every aggressive takeoff, and you're bleeding money from multiple directions at once. Automatic transmissions are built to last a very long time, but only when you stop treating them like a drag strip component. Number 12, never drive off with a cold engine. You jump in, start the car, and immediately pull out of the driveway. It feels efficient, but your engine and transmission are being put through serious stress every time you do it. When the engine is cold, the oil inside is too thick to circulate properly, which means vital components like the pistons, cylinders, and valve train are running with nowhere near enough lubrication. Friction builds up, and wear accelerates on parts that are supposed to last the life of the vehicle. In cold climates, the damage from skipping this step compounds significantly over a winter of daily cold starts. Those extra seconds of patience every morning are the cheapest insurance policy your engine will ever have. What they don't tell you is that your transmission fluid has the exact same problem. Cold fluid is thick and sluggish, which means the hydraulic system can't shift gears properly, causing rough transitions and internal wear that quietly stacks up with every cold start. And here's the kicker. You don't need to sit and idle for 10 minutes. About 30 seconds to a minute is all most modern vehicles need. That tiny window of patience protects some of the most expensive components in the car. Skipping it is one of the easiest ways to shorten a transmission's life without ever knowing it. The repair bill it eventually produces is anything but small. Number 11. Don't sit in drive while parked. You pull up somewhere, leave it in drive, and hold the brake while you wait. Seems like no big deal, but your transmission is fully engaged the entire time, actively pushing power toward the wheels against a held brake. That constant resistance generates heat inside the transmission, and heat breaks down the fluid that's supposed to be protecting all those internal components. Do this regularly, and you're running your transmission into the ground without driving a single mile. The fluid degrades faster, the components run hotter, and the lifespan of the entire system quietly shortens every time. Most people do this for years without ever realizing they're paying for it later at the repair shop. What they don't tell you is that your brakes are taking damage too. Holding the car stationary against an engaged drivetrain means your brake pads are under constant load and heat, wearing down faster than they ever should during a simple wait. And here's the kicker. If your foot slips off the brake even for a second, the car moves. Around pedestrians or in a tight parking lot, that's a serious risk. Anytime you're stopped for more than a few seconds, put it in park. It takes 1 second and costs you absolutely nothing. There is no good reason not to. Number 10. Stop resting your hand on the gear selector. It feels like a natural, relaxed driving position. But your gear selector is internally connected to the shift linkage, the mechanism that physically engages your transmission's gears. Even a light, constant pressure from a resting hand applies force to those components that they were never designed to carry. Over time, that sustained pressure causes misalignment and premature wear in the linkage, leading to sloppy shifts, improper gear engagement, and repairs that aren't cheap. Most people never suspect their hand position is the source of the problem. It's one of those habits that looks completely harmless, right up until the repair estimate lands in front of you. What they don't tell you is that your reaction time also suffers every time your hand isn't on the wheel. In an emergency situation, that hand has to travel from the selector to the steering wheel before you can respond fully. And here's the kicker. The damage to the shift linkage is entirely invisible until it's already bad enough to notice. By then, the wear has been building for months or years. Mechanics see this constantly and rarely mention what caused it. Only touch the selector when you actually need to shift. Then put your hand straight back on the wheel. Before we keep going, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a video. We drop content every week that could save you serious money on your car. Now let's keep going. Number 9. Never shift modes while the car is moving. Your automatic transmission is a precision system. Every gear is designed to engage under specific conditions and at specific speeds. When you switch between modes while the car is still rolling, you force a sudden mismatch between what the transmission is doing and what the vehicle is demanding from it. That creates a mechanical shock that ripples through the entire system. And these components were never built to absorb that kind of force. Even one instance of this can start damage that builds into something much more serious over time. The transmission doesn't show you what's happening inside. It just quietly gets worse. What they don't tell you is that the clutch packs and bands responsible for gear engagement take the worst of it. Forced to operate under pressure they weren't prepared for, they wear out dramatically faster or fail outright. And here's the kicker. If you try to slam it into park while still moving, the parking powell, the small metal piece that locks the transmission, can snap completely. A broken parking powell means the car can roll even when you think it's parked. That repair is expensive, inconvenient, and entirely avoidable. The transmission shop loves customers who don't know this rule. Always bring the car to a full stop before touching the gear selector. Number 8. Never engage park while the car is still rolling. When you try to engage park while the car is still rolling, that PAL slams against spinning components with brutal force. It can crack, shear, or jam, and when it does, your car can no longer hold its position safely. What feels like a small shortcut in a parking lot is actually one of the most mechanically violent things you can do to a transmission. The cost to fix it is never small. What they don't tell you is that the damage almost never stops at just the pole. Gear teeth and shift linkage components frequently take hits in the same event, turning one bad habit into a multi-part repair bill. And here's the kicker. From a safety standpoint, forcing park while moving can cause sudden wheel lockup, which means skidding and loss of control. The exact situation you were trying to avoid. Most people who do this regularly have no idea the PAL is slowly being destroyed with every occurrence. Come to a complete stop every single time. No shortcuts. Number 7. Never skip the emergency brake. You park on flat ground and figure the parking pole has it covered. You don't need the emergency brake. That assumption is slowly damaging your transmission every single time you make it. When the car is in park without the emergency brake engaged, that small PAL is carrying the entire weight of the vehicle on its own. Over time, especially on any kind of slope, that constant load weakens the pole, and a failed pole means your car rolls when you think it's stationary. The vehicle rolling unexpectedly in a parking lot or on a hill is not a situation anyone wants to deal with, and yet it happens, and it almost always traces back to this exact habit. What they don't tell you is that engaging the emergency brake transfers the load off the transmission entirely and puts it onto the braking system, which is exactly what the braking system was built for. And here's the kicker. Using the emergency brake every time costs you nothing. Replacing a damaged parking pole or dealing with a transmission repair because you skipped it costs you considerably more. 2 seconds every time you park protects one of the most expensive systems in your vehicle. It's one of the simplest habits you can build that delivers real, lasting protection. Number 6. Don't leave the car in neutral in traffic. Sitting in stop-and-go traffic and dropping into neutral to give the car a break sounds logical. It actually creates more problems than it solves. When the car is in neutral, you lose the engine braking resistance that helps hold the car stationary. Your brakes have to compensate for all of that holding force on their own, especially on any kind of grade, generating extra heat and wearing the pads down faster with every stop. Over the course of a daily commute in heavy traffic, that extra brake wear adds up to real money. You're essentially accelerating a maintenance cost you don't even realize you're creating. What they don't tell you is that you also lose control response in an emergency. If a hazard appears suddenly and you need to move immediately, there's a lag between shifting back into drive and actually being able to accelerate. And here's the kicker. Constantly toggling between neutral and drive in stop-and-go traffic puts repetitive stress on the shift linkage and disrupts fluid flow inside the transmission, which contributes directly to overheating and early wear. Automatic transmissions are designed to sit in drive. That's the position they were built for. Every neutral toggle is a small hit to a system that was perfectly fine sitting exactly where it was. Number 5. Never let water into the transmission. Water getting into your automatic transmission is one of the most destructive things that can happen to your car, and the damage is often permanent. Your transmission is a sealed system that depends entirely on specialized fluid for lubrication, cooling, and hydraulic pressure. The moment water enters, whether from a flooded road, a damaged seal, or extended exposure to standing water, it begins contaminating that fluid immediately. Water destroys the fluid's ability to lubricate and manage heat, and what's left can no longer protect anything it's circulating through. Most drivers have no idea this is happening until they notice shifting problems, by which point significant damage has already been done. Never assume that because the car is still moving, the transmission is fine. What they don't tell you is that the deterioration happens fast and across everything at once. Clutch packs burn out, valve bodies get damaged, and metal components begin corroding from the inside out as the contaminated fluid creates a perfect environment for rust. And here's the kicker. Repair costs for water-damaged transmissions routinely reach into the thousands, and in many cases, the entire unit has to be replaced. If you've driven through deep standing water and something doesn't feel right, Get it inspected immediately. Every mile you drive on contaminated fluid is more damage you're paying for later. Don't wait for the symptoms to get worse before you act. Number 4, stop driving with 2 feet. Using your left foot on the brake and your right foot on the gas might feel like more control. It actually creates serious risk for both your safety and your car's mechanical systems. The biggest problem is accidental simultaneous input. Even the slightest pressure on the brake while you're also on the gas sends completely conflicting signals to the car's systems, causing erratic gear behavior, overheating brakes, and unnecessary wear on the transmission as it tries to interpret what you're asking it to do. Modern vehicles with advanced driver assistance systems are especially sensitive to this kind of contradictory input. It's not just a bad habit. In some systems, it actively interferes with safety features designed to protect you. What they don't tell you is that riding the brake pedal even lightly causes it to overheat over time, which quietly degrades stopping performance and wears the pads, rotors, and calipers ahead of schedule. And here's the kicker. In a genuine emergency, 2-foot driving creates a coordination problem. Your brain may signal both feet simultaneously, making it more likely you hit the wrong pedal under pressure. That split-second mistake in the wrong situation is the difference between stopping safely and not stopping at all. 1 foot, right foot, gas and brake. That's the system. It works. Number 3, don't overfill the gas tank. The nozzle clicks off and you squeeze in just a little more. Feels like you're being thorough. But overfilling your tank sends excess fuel straight into your car's evaporative emission system, the EVAP system, which is designed to handle fuel vapor, not liquid gasoline. That excess fuel soaks into the charcoal canister and destroys its ability to function properly. Once that canister is saturated, it can trigger check engine lights, fail emissions tests, and create fuel delivery problems that seem completely unrelated to how you filled your tank. The shop visit that follows never comes with a warning that it started at the gas pump. What they don't tell you is that a damaged EVAP system throws off your engine's fuel-air ratio, causing erratic engine behavior that puts unpredictable stress directly on your transmission. The transmission compensates for inconsistent power output by working harder than it should, and that strain adds up. And here's the kicker. Overfilling also wastes the fuel you just paid for. The excess has nowhere to go except to evaporate or spill. When the nozzle clicks off, you stop. That's the signal. It's not a suggestion. The repair bill for a damaged charcoal canister alone can run well over $100, all because of a few extra squeezes at the pump. Number 2, never ignore low transmission fluid. Most drivers check their engine oil and forget the transmission exists until something goes wrong. And by the time symptoms appear, significant damage is usually already done. Transmission fluid is what keeps the entire automatic system alive. It lubricates every moving part, manages operating temperature, and provides the hydraulic pressure behind every gear change. When the level drops, all of those functions degrade at the same time. The transmission is essentially running without the protection it needs, while you go about your day completely unaware. Unlike engine oil, transmission fluid doesn't burn off on its own. If the level is dropping, there's a leak that needs to be found. Most people don't even know where to check it, and that ignorance alone is worth thousands of dollars to every transmission shop in the country. The fluid itself tells you everything. Healthy transmission fluid is bright red and nearly transparent, and the moment it starts looking brown or smells anything like something burning, you're already behind. Dealers and shops have no incentive to remind you to check it, because the neglect is exactly what fills their service bays. What they don't tell you is that the early warning signs are easy to miss. A slight hesitation when shifting, a subtle shudder between gears, a faint sound you can't quite place. By the time those get obvious, the internal components have already been running underprotected for longer than they should. And here's the kicker. A transmission fluid check takes minutes and costs nothing. Ignoring it until failure means a rebuild or full replacement that can cost several $1,000s. If the fluid looks dark or smells burnt, it's already overdue. Change it. The cost of a fluid service is a fraction of what neglecting it eventually demands. Number 1, never switch gears without a full stop. You're backing out of a parking spot and you flip from reverse to drive before the car completely stops. It's a split second. The car keeps moving. Nothing obvious happens. But inside the transmission, real damage just occurred. When you change gears while the car is still rolling, the transmission is forced to absorb the momentum that your brakes are supposed to handle. That energy transfer slams through the clutch packs and internal bands, components built for smooth, controlled transitions, not abrupt directional stops. It's the mechanical equivalent of asking a surgeon to also work as a bouncer. The transmission is absorbing an impact it was never designed to take. Every single time you do it, microscopic wear accumulates on components that cannot be seen, cannot be felt in the moment, and cannot be undone once the damage is done. The people who end up with transmission failures in their third or fourth year of ownership are almost always the same people who never once thought twice about this habit. And the worst part is that no warning light comes on, no noise alerts you, and no mechanic mentions it until the bill is already in front of you. What they don't tell you is that this is one of the most common causes of premature transmission wear, and most people do it dozens of times a week without thinking twice. The damage is invisible and silent, right up until it isn't. And here's the kicker. Make this a daily habit over years of driving, and you're looking at a rebuild or full replacement that runs anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 or more. The fix costs you exactly nothing. A complete stop before every single gear change. That one habit protects everything, and it's the one change that pays you back every single day you drive. How many of these were you already doing? Drop a comment and let me know which one surprised you the most. If this video just saved you from a repair bill you never saw coming, hit that subscribe button for more car knowledge that keeps money in your pocket. There are even more mistakes that mechanics hope you never find out about. Click the next video. Trust me, you'll wish you'd known these sooner.